Monica reporting for Press for Time. Today we have a very special show. It's a new segment we're going to be calling Artist Alley, where I chat with all my artist friends and we get to pick their brains and everything. So I myself am an artist, and I like to know what their artist inspirations are, their artistic journeys, and how they hone their craft. Welcome to this episode of Press for Time.
Damn, that was a really cool intro.
Thanks. I also hit the wrong button and I was like, it just said breaking news. And I was like, well, whatever. We're going to go with it.
Amazing. That was kind of a heater. Damn.
All right. So I have to introduce you. I wrote this down so I wouldn't be like, all right.
You wrote out a whole introduction for me?
I did, because here's the thing is though, I feel like I'm good at just talking and shooting the shit. But sometimes when it's having to be I need to hit these specific points, my mind will just blank.
Oh, that's me. Yeah.
So I'm like,
you just freeze up on the spot.
Right. Yep. And I'm like, even right now, it was I wrote this down. I read it over a bunch of times and it wasn't that hard of a thing, but I'm reading it, make sure I get it right. All right. So everyone, welcome to Press for Time. Welcome to the Artist Alley. Little segment we have here today. My friend Prince is joining us. Digital art is well known around the whole Resident Evil community, and then basically all of social media. I see you everywhere, Prince. So it's all your cool
wow.
your cool posters and everything, and just So let's see, you sell your artwork in Etsy and conventions, and you do commissions, and honestly, you're one of the most talented people I know.
Oh, that's so sweet, Monica. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're the best. So welcome to the show, Prince.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I guess I already introduced you, but you can introduce yourself as well if you'd like.
Oh, sure. I guess. I mean, so my actual name is Vasca, but I go by Prince Revenant, which is what's an artist alias. And yeah, I'm a primarily digital artist. I do a lot of character illustration. That's mostly what I'm known for. And of course my focus is heavily on horror, mostly Resident Evil. So that's mostly what people know me for.
Yeah, so, especially all your I'd say recently all of your Leon stuff.
Oh, the Leon posting I've been doing. Yes. I'm in the Leon posting era right now.
I love it for you. I also miss your Carlos and Jill era.
Oh, don't worry, I still like them. That's okay, that's not gone anywhere. It's just So
I have your poster behind me, nice and
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah, I have your print here that you gave me with Jill and Carlos, and I have design, which you're in as well. Oh, that's
right. Yeah.
And I have the cute little keychain. I just have all your stuff. So thank you so much for
you're so welcome, homie.
Yeah. So I guess I kind of want to for today, I kind of want to get to know you and basically why you decided, how you got started in art, why you chose digital art. Did you start with traditional? Just kind of let me know your artistic journey.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've been drawing since I was a little kid, forever, basically. Obviously, it's, kids draw, whatever. But
yeah,
I think it was when I was in probably late elementary school or in Canada, we call it junior high. I think you call it middle school.
Oh, we called it junior high back in the day, and now it's middle school.
Middle school? Okay. Yeah. Well, junior high, middle school, whatever. It was around that time where I really started taking art seriously, and I'm I kind of want to get better at this. And so I took art classes, and then I just kind of that was back in the DeviantArt days.
Oh, I remember those days.
We hate to talk about that, but that's I got on DeviantArt. I'm wow, I can post my art here. And of course, that was back when, it was mostly traditional that I did. So a lot of I remember being obsessed with Prismacolor markers.
Oh my God. Yeah. I had all the colored pencils of Prismacolor stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was doing that. So it was almost just ink and Prismacolor drawings.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
then I think at one point around that time, I asked my mom for a drawing tablet because I was like, I kind of want to start, drawing digitally, and I got one of those like fucking like $50 Wacom bamboo fun
Oh my
tablet. I
god, is
still
this the
have.
ones where you have to like draw and like look at the screen like while you're
Oh,
drawing?
yeah, and actually, I still have one of those. Like, I
Right.
still use a sort of standard drawing tablet.
Okay.
And actually, I can get into that. I am a 1000% a support. You do not need the bells and whistles. This is actually drawing on a tablet it's not a display tablet. Is
Mm-hmm.
actually so much better for your neck and your back. Like,
Oh, okay. Oh, because you're constantly looking up and like having good posture then,
yes. So
right?
your
Okay.
posture is really good. You're looking up and straight, and you're not looking down, right? You're not hunched over. That's why a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like professional digital artists, like their necks and backs are fucked, and they have to go to like physiotherapy because it's just they're constantly looking down, right? It's not good for you. Anyway, that's
Ah,
a
okay.
tangent. But yeah. So yeah, I still have that Wacom Bamboo Fun tablet, and it still works. Like it's the drawing pad is like probably 3 square inches. It's so small.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Like I don't even know, like to me it's so complicated. Like my brain can't fathom like not looking at what I'm drawing, like just looking straight and then doing it.
it's
Like I don't know how you do it.
it's kind of a learning curve. So I remember when I first got my tablet, um, it was hard. Like it's, but eventually you kind of once you mess around with it long enough, you kind of get used to it.
Okay.
And now
Mm-hmm.
it's like nothing. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, now it's
Once
just
you
like
can
you
get
plug
over
it in,
that,
you're
you're
good.
fine. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I think it's just like the thought of it. I'm just like, no, I can't.
I would try it because it all starts. Everyone starts out like that. Like it's like I don't know if I can do this. This is weird, but you just get used to it. Yeah. And then so yeah, around that time started getting into digital art, and I remember, and then when I got into high school, I was in art IB. It's like a higher level. It's like international
Oh,
baccalaureate.
okay,
Like
okay.
I
It's like
think
an
you have that in
advanced
the
like
States too.
art. We have like when in my school we called it advanced art study, and it was like me and one other kid in the class.
Oh yeah. So in fuck I would yeah. I took that and I had like the teacher from hell. It's like the stereotypical like pretentious I don't like if you aren't making the art that I like,
Oh,
it's
I
not
hate
art.
that. Yeah, I
And
totally
like
know what
you're
you
not
mean.
gonna amount to anything and yeah, that was him.
Wow.
Um and yeah, so that was interesting. He hated animation and uh, like sort of what do you call it? Like visual development kind of like character art stuff. He hated it. Hated it. He
What
was
is
more like of a fine arts type of
like a scenery sort of like painting? Like what was his
well,
vibe?
like like classical arts, also like fine art. So like very traditional like oil painting, like
Got it.
like modern kind of like pop culture arts he absolutely hated. And this is the
That's so
thing is
weird.
like I don't remember being like this guy's such a fucking loser, but I'm like, and it's why would you become an art teacher if that's how you are? But whatever.
Unless like you just like want to make everyone else feel bad because you don't have the talent. Like that's my only
Well, I
like
feel
thought
like part
process
of
in
it
that.
was because this guy like he went to Emily Carr and like sorry Emily Carr is it's a West. I see this like everyone knows what
I'm
this
like,
is.
I'm from
It's
America. I don't know these things.
It's Emily Carr is a West Coast. It's a Canadian art school. It's for fine arts.
Okay.
Pretty sure he went there. It's a pretty like well-to-do like prestigious school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but somehow he ended up teaching art as opposed to like being a professional artist. I don't know.
Got it.
So
It's
I
like
feel like
those that can't teach or those that can't do teach, right? Isn't that the old saying?
yeah, and so I'll never forget it. Yeah, he just. But here's the thing: is it's like art is subjective, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
what I think is art, the next person might not have any interest in or find no artistic merit or value in it, right? They don't see the
Right.
same thing that I see, and that's the thing is that's the beauty of it is it's subjective. It depends on
Mm-hmm.
the person and their own perspective, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like this is why like you can't tell somebody like this is not art, this is not blah, blah, blah. It's ridiculous. Anywho, so yeah, I started getting into digital art around that time. I started kind of like messing around with like started trying to do some original stuff. I remember kind of messing around with like web comics and stuff, and just trying to kind of find my way, like figure stuff out, like what I wanted to do and whatever.
Did you take any of like that person's like training, or did you kind of like look up like, you know, like I'm gonna see, like, I'm not sure like what they had like, you know, then with like online sort of classes, or like, you know, like tutorials online with like, you know, human anatomy, and just try to, you know, teach yourself. Do you think like you're more self-taught then?
Yeah, I would say largely self-taught. I think a lot of artists are, because you know, even back then, so this was in the late 2000s, like 2009, 2010. I think I graduated in 2010 from high school.
Okay.
So there was actually still a decent amount of resources online that were pretty accessible at that time. I say this like it's like a gazillion years ago.
It feels like that though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Especially now when you see like kids that are like better than you and they're like,
oh my God,
17. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Because that's the thing is like nowadays there's even just an overabundance of resources, way more accessible. And they're so like, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. I swear I speak English. Comprehensive. That's the word.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Resources. Way better now. And the thing is, most of it you can access for free. Like you don't actually have to pay for tuition to an art school.
That too, but like I've found like just apps that have like $10 courses, and it's like tells you how to do like from the beginning to end, like how to make a whole character. And I'm like, okay, like I went to college and I took art classes, and it was way more than $10, and I learned less. Those classes.
That's the thing is, I remember taking. It wasn't it was sort of art adjacent. It was what was it, 3D modeling or some kind of class like that. Okay. I swear I knew less coming out of that than I did going in. And I was like, I think we were using like Maya or something, and I was like, yeah, I don't understand this. Which is unfortunate because
the best at teaching stuff too.
Well, that's another thing is that the instructor was dog shit, but it's the thing is, I've heard that's just a common thing, is it's like it's complicated. But for some artists, it's a great tool. Like you can use 3D rigging and stuff in your painted illustration. Like you can sort of create an environment or a scene and then paint over it. It's all valid. Like there's all sorts of really great tools, right? And none of it's wrong. Like it's just whatever path you choose. You know, you're
whatever gets you to like,
whatever
gets you to create,
yeah. So anyway, there was really good resources. I just remember like, it's a gradual progression. Like I just kept drawing, and I kept like, you know, seeing artists like or art made by people that I'm like, yeah, I want to be able to do that. That's the kind of art I want to make, and it's kind of just you stay on that path, and eventually you just kind of. Like if I, as a kid, like saw what I was doing now, I'd probably fucking shit my pants. Like I would probably not believe. That's what I mean is like, and I'm not even. There's still a lot of things everyone has things they can improve on, right? There's still tons of stuff I can learn and get better at. Like one thing I'm trying to focus on right now this year is composition. So like I want to do really, really interesting compositions for my pieces instead of just having like, you know, it's just a character standing there or like
right. I feel like you're accomplishing that though in like your posters, because it's like everything just kind of fits like exactly how it should, and it just
thanks.
I can't wait to see your mummy one. I'm very excited about it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to do really, really interesting, like just really weird, like, but like in a way that kind of it works really well, but it's really like, that's what I'm trying to do now. That's my focus, because that's an area I can improve on. But so it's just the whole like, if I was a kid looking at what I'm doing now, I probably would not be able to believe it.
And the thing is too, like when you're an artist, it's like it's so gradual, like just becoming better
It
and better.
is.
And then it's like I've seen your thing before too, where it's like this is from like 10 years ago or something like that, and you just see like how different like the pictures are.
Like,
But
it's crazy.
it's
Yeah,
crazy. You don't even notice, and you're like, oh wow, like how did I get
that's
from here to
why
here?
I've said it so many times. Uh, always keep your old ass art,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's cringe. You can't stand to look at. Always keep it. Just keep it hide it in a folder somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, like, on days where you're like, really down in the dumps about your art, you think like, wow, I'm not getting anywhere. Like, I suck. Like, I should just stop.
Mm-hmm.
Go and open that folder. And
Yeah.
you'll be like, wow, actually, I'm better than I thought I was.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought
seriously,
this picture was great years ago. Like
seriously, like, it is like an instant mood booster. Like, it,
mm-hmm.
and it's always really nice to see, especially so many years later when you've come so far, being able to go back and look at stuff you were doing like 5-10 years ago and be like, god damn, like, that's the shit that I made. Like, that, yeah, really.
And just remembering like years ago too, like oh man, I was struggling with hair at this point, and now looking at like where you're at with like drawing hair, it's just like, oh wow, fuck, I don't even think about it anymore. Like when I draw it, it just kind of comes naturally.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, 1,000% recommend that. It's such a great idea. Yeah, like, I have stuff that like I'm just like, wow, this is so bad, and sometimes it's really I will occasionally like post them, publicly.
Yeah,
And be like,
I saw
see,
the
this
one.
is what
I was
I mean.
like, oh my god, look at that.
Like, there's one that I did of, I think I painted. I did it's one of my first like digital paintings that I did. It was of Sheva, I think, and I did it in 2009. Fuck, I'm aging myself. I feel so old,
no.
but like,
same.
Yeah, and it's like, I love how some people, oh, but even that was still okay, and I'm like, if you compare that to what I'm doing now, it is so wild.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell I did not know what I was doing back then.
Right.
I was kind of just throwing, shit at a wall. Like, yeah.
But I think we're also like our own like worst critics too. Like people don't even like don't even notice that. Like I'll draw something and I'll be like, oh man, this is off, just like shit, and then everyone will see like, wow, that's great, and I'm like, oh cool, thanks.
I am so bad about that. Like, I will do this thing where like, and I'm sure this happens to a lot of artists, where like you finish a piece, you're like, looks great, you post it, and immediately
and you hate it.
Several things that's wrong with it. It's like, oh no, it's too late now though.
Yeah.
I do that constantly, and I'm constantly like tweaking stuff, but ultimately though, the thing that I try and tell myself is, it's like, okay, you see a flaw in it, right? Don't just leave it, but next time try something different. Like, because if you keep going back and like tweaking it over and over again, it's like you're kind of I don't want to say wasting your time, but it's like, it's time that you could be spent creating something else, right?
Yeah.
And taking what you've learned and utilizing that, right?
I think the hardest thing is like letting go of like an artwork. Yeah. Totally. The hard thing is too is like with the artwork, like sometimes it's like the more you correct, then suddenly it's like looks awful, and you're like, oh no,
and then sometimes you make it worse. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to leave it.
Yeah, and just move on, do the next thing, and just like keep doing. The whole thing with art is just keep doing it over and over again. Like that's how you improve. So you have to just like, I'm done with this, and go on to the next project, and just improve from there.
Totally. Yeah. So I'm trying to think, and then basically I just kind of kept going. It's only really, I think, in the past few years where I actually started seeing some success with like my art in terms of like, oh, I can actually maybe live off of this, right?
Yeah.
And I still don't feel like I'm very well known at all. People tell me, they're like, oh yeah, people know you. I'm like, really though? Like,
I feel like coming into
I'm a small person. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I feel like coming in, because like I kind of joined like the Resident Evil community like probably around like 2020. Like I've been on Twitter for a while. And I didn't really, I just went on there to like enter contests and stuff like that. And then I remember I played Resident Evil 3, And then I was like, oh fuck, like I need some artwork for my phone.
Immediately,
right?
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I ship Jill and Carlos. This is
That's
happening.
me. I saw these like pictures, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is amazing. I just started using like all your pictures for my screen background on my phone. I love it so much. But it's like, oh, Prince seems like a cool person. And then I remember you did this one thing I thought was really cool too, where like you did a line art for like a Jill and Carlos thing, and then you put it on Twitter, and you was like, guys, just fill it in and color it. And I think like
I remember that.
That was a really cool thing to get like engagement, and it's like then people are like, I feel like that also made you a little bit more well known and made people like involved. Yeah,
I just did it because I'm like, hey, let's see what people can do with this, because like, you know, I've seen other people do things similar. I'm like, you know what, I kind of want to see what people do. That's cool.
And a lot of people had some great stuff, so I was like, oh, and I did one too, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like I did one of Prince's artworks.
Yeah.
With my limited digital artwork knowledge.
No, you're fine. Yeah. Like digital art can be hard sometimes. I mean, actually, I would argue no matter what, traditional art's the way. Yeah, traditional is, if you fuck up, you fucked up.
Yeah, like, you're done. Throw it out.
Yeah, like the thing is, like when I use like acrylic paints or like oil paints in school, it's like you can paint over it, right?
Yeah.
But there's a whole song and dance, like there's a whole like. Whereas with digital art, it's like, okay, you just press a button, and you've just undone what you just did, right? So it's,
you know what? I'll say that too, because that was my first thing with digital art. I was like, oh yeah, you could do that. But if you don't know, like if you don't have yourself organized, and you're like, I need this layer and this layer and this layer, and you just start like doing shadows and like highlights on like one layer, then you're fucked. Like then you can't really
that doesn't
go back.
The more you do it, like honestly, I feel like pretty disorganized. I sometimes will do art like. Some people will look at, like, sometimes I'll have a gazillion layers, and then sometimes I'll have just 3 layers.
Really? Oh,
and some people are like, how do you do that? Like, sometimes if I'm painting just like a portrait, I will have a layer for skin, a layer for hair, and then a layer for clothes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you do all like the shadows and everything just on like the skin layer. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And sometimes I've tried painting on just 1 layer. Don't recommend it. Because I'm kind of like, well, this is just like, if I was to paint, traditionally, it's all on 1 layer.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, let's try it. Don't recommend it. Because if you have to fix something, yeah.
Yeah.
But with that, I actually don't mind it too much. If it's like, and then sometimes I'll add additional layers if I have to add like textures or like for example, if I'm doing a character that's injured or like has some is grimy or I'll add like a layer just for like those details.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it's on top, yeah. But otherwise, yeah, I just do it all on like all the skin. It's always 1 layer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Always, yeah.
I'm gonna take notes on this.
Hair,
I'm gonna try to like help out like my digital photography or my digital.
And here's
artwork.
the thing I want to stress: there's no wrong way to do any of this, right? It's whatever works for you. The end result is gonna be the same, right? You just trust the process. Like if it works for you, it's not wrong, right?
Right.
Some people will be like, "Oh, you have to." There's even some people that say like you can't use references. I am the biggest supporter. Like you use references always.
Yeah.
Use it the more the better. I use like at least between 10 and 20 references per piece.
Oh wow. Okay.
At least, sometimes way more. Depends on what I'm doing.
I saw your Leon artwork where he's like on the ground, and I saw like you had like 2 different references that you were like working off of
one
for
of
that one.
Leon, yeah, and then one. It was like just a stock picture of like a like it was like
just like a lady on the ground, like
so it's like it's because it you can visualize things in your head, but seeing it like especially like how like anatomy, like how muscles are like especially if the characters like or the body is in a specific position, it really helps to see how the muscles are behaving, how the where the and where the light, how it reflects off of certain like shapes, like it makes a huge difference when you're actually making your art, like, and you can even test it out. Try drawing something from just using your imagination versus a reference. It's like night and day difference, right?
No, I 100% agree with that, because like I mean my artwork is mainly just like looking at something and drawing exactly, but when I try to make it like not exact, like them in a different pose, I 100% have to do the same thing, because like I can't like when I close my eyes I see black. I do not have an imagination. So
Oh, really?
like I need,
Interesting.
yeah, I need the references because I just can't see it.
Interesting. Yeah, everyone's different in that regard too. I can't remember the what it's referred to as, but like, you know, everyone has their, like, when they visualize things mentally,
Yeah.
it can vary wildly. Either they can't visualize anything, or it's like maybe something fuzzy or it looks almost like cartoon or 2D. And then some people have a
Right.
really vivid, like, three-dimensional. Like,
I think those are the people that are like, you don't need references. Like, okay, cool, but we don't all have that. Thank you.
maybe those people are like, I mean, there's some people out there that are like, you know, autistic savants and stuff that like can just without looking at anything, just like draw that. I mean, I'm not one of those people.
Have you seen the one person that like can draw like the whole like landscape of like New York City just by memory and just sits there with like a pen?
See,
and
that's
just draws,
what I
and I'm
mean.
just like, whoa.
Like, that's what I mean. Is like those people are like freaks, like affectionate in brackets, affectionate. Like those people are like, that's not normal. Like that's like they're clearly they have some kind of savant situation.
Right. Some kind of superpower that we do not have.
Yes, their brains are completely different. Yeah.
Do you recommend too, like besides like just having like references, do you recommend like going and like learning anatomy and learning like how like the muscles work with like the bones and everything like that?
Yes, absolutely. Also, even just looking sometimes when you're painting or drawing or whatever.
Oh.
Looking at, you know, just pulling up, like, you know, there's anatomy, like you can get you can access them digitally, like anatomy textbooks, like actually seeing how the muscles layer underneath the skin, you know, all of it. Yeah, it's highly recommended. Yeah.
I have a whole book on like facial expressions and like in the muscles in the face and everything like that to like help me out. Yeah.
There's also some really great tools that I will drop. There's one that I love to use. It is called, it's an app you can get. It's called Hand Model. So if you struggle drawing hands. It's, you use your camera and you can literally just pose your hand however you want. And it gives you a 3D, an instant 3D rigging of a hand in the exact shape. And then you can just, you can use that as a reference. It's fucking awesome.
Oh my god!
There's
like,
another
I'm just
one.
Take notes right now and just write this.
And I can share links to all of them. And there was the other one that I was using. It is.
Where did I put my pen at? Oh god!
It's for lighting. So you pose like a 3D figure, and you just it can allow you to manipulate the lighting so you can see how the.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's super helpful if you're doing like really dramatic lighting, or like it's something's backlit, or you know, like, and you are struggling to find a really good reference pictures. Yeah, I'll have to find the it's not Magic Poser. That's another one that's pretty good too.
I've seen that one before. Yeah, I have seen that.
What's it called?
I also have these like little figurines as well, like that like do all the like little poses.
Yeah, those are pretty good too.
Yeah, I have like a guy and a girl one, so I could see like, even though I feel like they don't quite move completely correctly, but it's good enough where I can get kind of a reference for stuff.
Totally. Yeah. But yeah, so references, I am a huge fan of reference. I also like my favorite source for reference photos is just Pinterest.
Oh yeah.
Because you can find a lot of really good, like, there's like fashion magazine, like editorials, like there's you can find you know, like clothing catalog, like, you know, just models posing in various, you know, ways, and you know, it's really great. You can find so much stuff on there. Nice. Sometimes I even go on Urban Outfitters. Oh. They have really good. Like, if you're just looking for like people posing.
Yeah, because like, okay, first of all, I totally forgot to mention, Prince. I am wearing the dress that I made from your drawing of Jill.
Oh my god!
Right now, I don't know if you noticed, but I was like, I have to wear it for today.
Oh
but
my god!
But like, how do you come up? Like, speaking of like, you know, going on Urban Outfitters, stuff like that. Like, is that where you come up with like the cool ideas for like your outfits for the
sometimes? Sometimes, like, sometimes I'll just, I don't know, like, I'll see a cool outfit. Anyway, it could be like literally anywhere. Or like, I'm like, you know what? I can see something like doing something with that.
Hell yeah! Okay.
Yeah, Urban Outfitters, great for pose, like just, you know, like poses, reference for character poses. Great. I don't know what it is with Urban Outfitters specifically. I guess it's because they have such a variety of, like, I don't know, models wearing their clothes. I don't know, because like a lot of other like clothing sites like Zara or like the Gap, whatever. It's just like a model standing there, right, and not really doing anything. Whereas Urban Outfit, like, and there's other like companies that do this, but like they have such a variety. Like it's
I have to look this up now.
Somebody
'cause
existing
I never
but
even thought
wearing
about
the piece of clothing that they're selling, you know.
Nice. Okay. Everyone's gonna go to Urban Outfitters now and just use all your ideas to learn how to draw.
I am not sponsored, by the way.
Please sponsor Prince Urban Outfitters.
Like, you can hire me. I'm available.
That's right. So I'm saying, like, please sponsor. Or this way. You're this way.
But it's a thing. You know, it's just, yeah. So.
Okay, so like going with your artistic journey and stuff like that, and people like getting to know you and stuff like that. Do you think that like becoming part of like the Resident Evil community and doing a lot of Resident Evil artwork is something that like got a lot more people like to recognize you and maybe like kind of add more sales or get you like more inspired to draw more?
Good question. I mean, it's definitely what I'm most known for. So most of my engagement and stuff like it comes from the Resident Evil community, overwhelmingly for sure. So, and I do notice like if I ever post anything or create anything that's not Resident Evil related, it definitely doesn't do as well.
Oh
no. Which is fine. It's okay. But you know, I'm just thankful that I have, you know, and it's a relatively small audience. Like compared to other, you know, artists, like really big artists, like it's relatively small, but like I'm still really thankful for, you know, the, you know, people that follow me, and I don't, it doesn't bother me too when it doesn't, like for example, I posted that there's a Mummy poster I was working on. And it's like, you know, people are like, oh, cool, right? Because everyone loves a Mummy, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, it didn't, it's not like me posting like a Leon where like people were like foaming at the mouth. Like,
that's crazy. I'm sorry, Brendan Fraser and like Rachel Weisz. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Odin Fur? So are you joking? Like Odin Fur was Carlos in the Resident Evil movies. Come on, people.
Yeah. And also just the Mummy. Who doesn't like the Mummy? Like that's.
I feel like everyone had like their sexual awakening from the Mummy. So like
it's like the movie for bisexuals.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah.
Because like everyone's hot in it, regardless of gender.
Yeah, fuck yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and I mean, like I'm fine with that. Like, I mean, most well known for Resident Evil, but like I do other survival horror stuff like Silent Hill, whatever.
The Thing, I love your Thing poster as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. So actually, just in general, like horror people. Yeah, it's like my core audience, if you will. Yeah.
For the posters, also, is it something that like you just like kind of like creating on your own? I also saw on like you have a site and you do like commissions and stuff like that. Do you do it for theaters as well? Do they commission you to like make?
Oh yeah, so so most of the posters I do are just for me. Like I just want to do them. But I do work with it's called Metro Cinema. They are sort of a nonprofit theater in the city that I live in, which is Edmonton, Alberta. Okay. So I will. It's basically if I have time, I will do posters for. They'll every month they have you know, a certain set of films that they're going to show, and and it's not just me. They have other poster artists that they work with. So basically, like, here's what we got coming up, right? And it's like basically let us know if you want to do any posters for these. And you know, if it's something that I really want to do, I will jump at it. And only if I have the time, because you know, yeah. But I do work with them. But otherwise, I don't have any like ongoing clients. It's basically like I occasionally I'll have like a, you know, just somebody who wants a private commission or whatever.
Right.
Which I'll do. Yeah. And for the longest time, I didn't take commissions because I just didn't have the time. But now that I'm, you know, part time.
Oh, nice! Oh, nice!
I can actually accommodate commission work. So,
nice. Yeah. Are you still finding you don't have a lot of time to though? Because I do see you have a lot of like conventions coming up. Like, what is your process in like preparing for all of those?
For conventions?
Yeah.
Good question. I basically just don't sit still. Like I'm just always really busy, which is fine. I enjoy it. So. But yeah, so basically I try to I try not to overload myself, so I'll do like a convention every few months. Occasionally there'll be like 2 in a month, which is I try not to do because it's like to, you know, get everything organized, make sure I'm all restocked and ready. It's
Yeah.
pretty tough with that kind of turnaround, right? So if I give myself a month or 2 months in between, I'm good, and then I can also like do my online shop and then, uh, create stuff too.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So like the next con I'm doing is it's in Calgary, which is in Alberta, which is where I live. Um, that one's in like a week or two,
Oh wow, are you getting ready
and then
right now
after
for it?
that, yeah, I'm actually a pretty almost entirely ready. Uh, and then the next one after that, I believe is oh my god, I think it's is
I
that
might have a
Japan
list right
Expo?
here. Hang on.
Oh my god, I know I put it on my web. I'm so bad about
What is to? Oh, hang on a second. I see the Calgary one. MCM London. Is that your next one?
Oh yeah, that one I didn't get into.
Okay. Oh
So I
no.
think then the next one would be
I see a
it might
Germany
be
one.
oh that's the next one then. That's Dokomi, yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that one I think is in June or something.
Yes, end of June.
Yeah. So then and then after that one I'm pretty sure it's Japan Expo, which is in Paris.
Oh, nice. That's the one I really wanted to go with for you, but like I didn't get my passport yet because I
Oh
just
yeah, yeah.
forgot. No, I got to
So
get it
that's gonna be really
done.
interesting. Yeah, I've never really been to Paris. I've been to the Paris airport. Been to the
Oh,
airport in Paris.
I've heard bad things about the Paris airport.
Yeah, it's not great. Like it looks really nice, but like they're pretty famous for not handling people's things. Like they lose people's luggage and stuff. And
Oh, my roommate travels a lot, and she said when she went there was like they had no care at all if she would make it to her next flight. They're just like taking their good old time, just getting things,
oh, there's that
like
too.
checking
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Like my only experience with the Paris airport, they did not even. Oh yeah, they didn't even try to load our luggage onto the plane. And then when we did get our luggage, they damaged the shit out of it. So
No. Oh
it is
no.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently they're very famous for that,
Oh,
actually.
nice. Okay. Well, have fun in Paris.
It's yeah, it's Paris airports, and also the big airport in Amsterdam is pretty well known for that, and also just missing
Oh.
luggage. Yeah. So
Didn't you have that like at one of your conventions? Like a lot of it was like lost for like days.
yep.
Am I remembering? Oh
Oh,
God.
thankfully it wasn't days. Oh
Okay.
wait, there was actually there was one time I was coming back from Montreal, but that was when that was right after COVID when everything was opening up again and the airports were like in complete shambles. Like they didn't know what to do with themselves. Like
Yeah.
so my luggage it didn't make it onto my flight, but
Oh
eventually
no.
it was at the airport when we found it. It's fine.
Oh good.
And
Okay.
then
Okay.
but when I was going to England, this is in December, we had to go through Paris. They did not load they didn't load our luggage onto our flight at all. We had 6 bags and only one was loaded.
Oh
And and it's like, well, that's great. We have to set up today.
no. Yeah. I guess we could. Did you have like your merch in the one at least that?
No, like everything was all of our merch, all of our display stuff was in those bags. So, like basically, they got them on the next flight, and we went to the airport to pick them up.
Oh, at least you
So it
got
was
it right away
fine,
though. Okay.
but it was like, it was stressful. But all's well that ends well, right?
Yeah, I feel like a
Um,
lot of people, it's like it's hard to see like that business side when it comes to artwork. It's like people just like love creating and love doing artwork, but it's like when you actually make it a business, it's a little more
yeah,
difficult.
it is, and things like that, like unforeseen things like that, it can happen, right?
Mhm.
That's why, like, usually it's recommended that you get insurance, just in case.
Okay.
There was actually a time, this is years and years ago. Well, years and years ago. This is 2019, so pre-COVID.
Hmm.
I came to New York City for a convention. I don't know if I told you about this, Monica. I came to New York City. It was for FlameCon.
Okay.
And all of my stuff was stolen. Everything.
No.
It's basically a tabling artist's worst nightmare, and it happened. And I remember.
Where was it stolen from?
So, and this is the thing is like I was very naive, right? This is my first international con.
Oh no.
And I just like, because I rented an Airbnb, and
Oh.
as I explain this like to people, they're like, "Oh my god, you thought this was a good idea?" I was dumb and I was young, and like whatever. So rented an Airbnb, and I basically asked the Airbnb host, I was like, "Is it okay if I just ship my stuff to your flat?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem."
Oh no.
And I'm like, in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, there's so many better. I could have shipped like right to a USPS
Yeah.
post office, to a FedEx location, and they would hold it for me, like something that's way more secure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and we got there. It wasn't even that just that. Our Airbnb host just ghosted us. Like,
No.
oh yeah, they were gone. Like, we don't even think it was legit, which is weird because they had
Oh.
like, over a dozen good reviews.
Yeah,
Right? It
you
wasn't
gotta.
like it was just a
Yeah.
random like with no reviews. It's just a newly listed
I mean, so here's
place.
the thing: is with New York, like, I know because I've obviously lived here, and like I've had to like apartment hunt and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
have to be so fucking careful because like people, like I almost got swindled like before I found the place I'm in now, where like the person was like, we went to a place, it was like a whole office, there was people in there, people applying for apartments. We're like, oh, this has got to be legit, right? They had a whole company logo and everything,
Oh
and then they're like,
no.
oh, we're gonna have you check out this apartment over here. We're like, okay, sure. We walked over and they're like, oh, the one that you would rent out isn't ready yet, so we're going to show you the apartment and the floor above to show you what it looks like. And we're like, okay. And then we went back and we're like, as my roommate, my current roommate, we're like, okay, but we just need a place. And then I happened to notice, this is what made me really suspicious, was
Uh-huh.
that their fire alarm thing, like it showed like it wasn't passed or something like that. There was a little sticker saying like not passed, and I was like,
No.
and my dad used to be a firefighter, so I was like, that's really suspicious. So I went home and started Googling this person's name and found out that he was a complete scam artist. So my roommate had already written out the check and was like ready to send. I was like, stop. Don't do it. He's a
Jesus
scam artist.
Christ.
So
Especially in a place like New York City where you have people that are so desperate for like a place to live.
That's what they hope for. They hope that like you just hurry up and give them the money, and then they just like and then they apparently they move locations a lot too. So you would like, yeah, so you would never knew where the fuck they were at. So we happened to luck out and just be like, oh man. But yeah,
I'm glad that it was okay for you guys. But yeah, so yeah, again, it's like you live and you learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I shipped all my stuff. They ghosted us. I mean, Airbnb handled that part where they found us another place, right?
Oh, good. Okay.
And we didn't have to pay anything, whatever. But I'm like, well, fuck, what do I do about my packages?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Oh my god.
So yeah, they were delivered. Somebody signed for them and said that they were me. Took all of my stuff, all my merch, all of my everything, every single thing.
What the
and
fuck?
so, and I'm like, well, we have this con, and I was like, well, fuck, like, what do I do? And what ended up happening was, I'm like, you know what? Because it looks bad if I just don't go, right? I paid for the table, So I literally, I think I like messaged some people or messaged some friends or whatever, and they got me in touch with another artist. They weren't even at this con. This is why I'm like, people are generally really, really good.
Yeah.
This person was like friend of a friend of a friend, really. I didn't even know this person. They reached out to me and were like, okay, I'm not tabling at this con, but like I live in Jersey. I have like printers and stuff. I'm gonna print you. If you have files, send them to me. I will print them. She stayed up all night making prints for me. She's like, all you gotta do is just pay me for the cost of like the paper. So
that's
she
amazing.
hand delivered them to me. And I was like, I remember like when I met her in the lobby, I was like trying not to cry.
Oh my god.
Because I was like, this is like the nicest thing. Like, again, she didn't have to do that, but she did.
Yeah. Aw, that's so sweet.
I paid her for the prints. And then so my table was like so depressing looking. So everyone in the alley had like these really nice displays, and then there was just me with like some prints laid out. And like, I mean, and then I was doing commissions, and so you know what? I actually didn't do so bad.
Okay, weekend. Hell yeah, all right.
Like, I think I made my table back.
Okay.
So it wasn't that bad. But, and I remember, I think afterwards, I think a friend of mine set up a GoFundMe for me because he felt so bad. And I remember when that happened, people were like, what the fuck? Because there was people that I saw at the con, and like I was like, yeah, so my stuff got, stolen. And because I didn't want to alarm people, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that sucks, right? But then when they actually saw, like afterwards, the GoFundMe, they're like, oh my God, the way you talked about it, you did not make it seem that it was that bad. You
Yeah.
didn't say like all your stuff was gone. Like this is
You
thousands and
were
thousands of
robbed.
dollars worth of stuff.
Like, oh fuck.
Yes. And they're like, this is literally my worst nightmare. Like that's like every tabling artist's worst nightmare is that they get to like they travel these long distances, they spend all this money, for accommodations, table fees, travel expenses, all this to get there and have their stuff either not show up or it gets stolen, right? And then it's like you've come all this way and you've nothing, right? And you have nothing to sell. You can't. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
literally our worst nightmare, and it's like I lived it, and it's like. But here's the thing. Here's the takeaway: is that is rock bottom, and I lived. I
Yeah.
survived. It.
You figured it out. You made it work.
The thing I think about is like nobody got hurt. Like we're alive. Like it was me and a friend of mine. Like we're okay. Like this all can be replaced. It's
Yeah.
not the end of the world. It sucks, but like yeah. And so that happened. Why do we get on this topic again?
We were just talking about you going to like cons and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the insurance thing. So yeah, what I'll say is like it is wise to get insurance, especially if like you're making this a business.
Yeah.
Business. You should get insurance in case something like this happens, because I didn't have insurance. So basically it's like, well, you're in the hole. It is what it is. You're shit out of luck, pal.
Yeah. At least you had the people around you that, were like trustworthy and they had friends that were
really,
trustworthy. Yeah.
It really, strengthened my faith in humanity, right? Like it's like like these like people I didn't even know came out of the woodwork and were like, I want to help you. And they didn't have to do that, right? And I mean, if I think about it, like I would do that for someone else too, but like when you're in that position, it's like you don't really think about it until you're there, right?
Right. And it helps too because like I feel like it's kind of hard sometimes to be like, help me, and to have like friends just be like,
I'm very much
like
that kind of person. Yeah, I don't like asking people for help. Like I'm like I can figure it out myself.
Yeah. But I like when people like force their help on you. It's very great.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like sometimes you need help and it's okay.
Yeah.
Or like if people are offering it, it's like yeah, it's all right. You don't have to feel bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay it forward, right? Like, okay, so this happened to you, so now, like, if something were to happen to somebody else, like, you just make sure that you pay it forward.
Yeah,
right?
help them out too. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so, it's good. It sucks that you had to go through it, but now it's like like if this sort of thing happens again, you know how to handle it, which is a really good thing. Yeah, it's not a good thing.
And again, that's like the worst possible thing, right? So it's like, and it happened.
Yeah, and you lived through it, so yeah, you're good now.
It could not get worse. So, like that's literally rock bottom. So
yeah, aw.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we got a bit of a tangent.
No, it's okay though. Like this is what this is about, just like tangents and stuff like that. I think I asked you a lot of like the questions without even looking at my notes. I was like, okay, let me see. Okay, so can you like I love your story about when you met Benson, right? The Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your story?
The rules. Yeah, sure. So that was interesting. So basically last year I was at Dokomi, which is it's like an anime convention in Dusseldorf in Germany. It's my first time ever there. First time doing a con in Germany. And I had no idea, but apparently there's a lot of Resident Evil is really popular in Germany, and they have a really big like Resident Evil cosplay group. I don't know, some kind of like or collective of some kind. And so this group, like they had a huge booth at this con, huge, and it was super cool. I actually got to see it. They staged this booth to be like part of it was like the RPD. Like the police station, part of it was the STARS office. It was so fucking cool. Like it looked like you were actually in there. They got all the props, the desks, like it was super fucking cool. And they even had the fucking cop cars like parked there. It was so cool.
Okay.
So like if you're a cosplayer, if you're a Resident Evil, that was like your dream.
Nice.
Like
All
perfect backdrop for your cosplay photography. Anyway, so apparently this group invited Benson to appear that weekend with them as a guest. I had no idea till I was there, and people were like they were coming by and buying my Carlos art, and they're like, "Did you know that he's here? Like the face model?" And I was like, "Really?" And then I looked at his Instagram because I think we followed each other,
Mm-hmm.
and I did. I saw that he was here, and I was like, "Wow, that's just a small ass world, isn't it?" Anywho, so what people were doing is they were buying my Carlos art prints. They were taking them to Benson to sign, and then Benson was like, "Where are you guys getting this from? Like, where's this art from?" And they're like, "Oh, there's an artist in the artist alley that's selling these." He was like, "Oh, okay." And then he was like, "Oh yeah," my friend like went to go and say hello to him, and they were like, "Oh yeah, my friend Prince Revenant, he's in the artist alley." He said, "Oh yeah, I have to go and find that artist." And then he immediately just dropped everything, and then just like there was somebody there at the booth, like just somebody volunteering, whatever. He's like, "Can you help me?" And then they both like walked. They both left, and then my friend phoned me and was like, "Benson's on the move. I think he's on his way to your table." And I was like, "Okay." It's like it almost sounded like a threat. And I don't know how.
Please threaten me, Carlos's face model, please.
I don't know how he made it. How he got to my table so fast? Because like, the artist alley was separated. This convention was huge. I think it's one of the biggest anime cons in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for a fact they have the biggest artist alley in the world of any anime con in Dokomi. So the artist alley was literally like, it was like two halls removed, like separate from the hall that he was in, and it's huge. Like when I had walked over to where he was, it took me like a good 20 minutes to walk over there.
Wow.
With the crowds and everything. It's like he fucking teleported to my room. He was like, I think the second I hung up with my friend, he's just there.
Oh
and he just like came around the back, like beside me. He's like, "There you are. I've been looking for you everywhere." And I did like that fucking like surprise Chris Redfield. Fucking like, I was like, "What?" And then I said something like, "Oh, you're gonna be my booth babe, right? Is that why you're here?" He's really cool. He's like, we chatted about like just nerdy stuff. He's a really big nerd.
Mm-hmm.
What did we talk about? We talked about The Last of Us. He really likes The Last of Us, and I think it was
Nice.
Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. All the dudes that I knew in school that loved Dragon Ball Z, they all grew up to be like they're all like these fucking jacked like
Really?
gym bros, or like or they do like, you know, they're personal trainers, or like they do something that relates to fitness. It's like basically
they took Dragon Ball Z very personally.
Well, it's like they looked at Goku and were like, "I want to be you."
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know. Anyway, he was lovely to talk to. He's really funny. And I asked him too. I was like, "Dude, I gotta know. Like, I'm gonna pick your brain. I'm like, you're the first face model that I've met. I was like, I have to know. Like, is it weird? Is it weird? Is it cool? Because I'm like, your likeness is now permanently associated with this character. It's like,
yeah.
And I was like, you know, people are making like, you know, spicy stuff like with your likeness, right? I'm like,
yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't care. I just don't give a shit." And I was like, "Okay, well, that's a good attitude to have, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, obviously, he thinks it's cool because he cosplays as Carlos, right?
I always see his like him on Twitter, just like in the cosplays, and even does like the breaking bricks like in the cosplays too. Which I think is
know.
really cool. I'm jealous
so
of
cool.
your brick.
Yeah, it was cool. It's funny too. I just messaged him. I was like, "Can I get one of those?" Like, I'm like, "Can I?" Or it's like, "Can I just if you break a brick and sign it, or would you break a brick and sign it for me?" He's like, "Yeah." Just tell me your mailing address.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, so that was fun, and I did tell him too, because I'm going to Japan Expo. That's in his neck of the woods, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, bro, if you're in Paris, like, I can get you an extra badge. Like, you can actually be my booth babe if you want. He's
yes,
like, okay, I will.
I'm here for this.
Like, I'll save the date. I'm like, cool.
Aw, that's so sweet.
I know. So that was fun. it's a great experience. And then all the German Resident Evil fans were like, because some of them knew me, like some of them followed me, but like a lot of them had no idea who I was, and they're like, "You're like, people are talking about you here. Like, you're like the Resident Evil boot." I'm like, I mean,
Yeah. Nice.
that's like 99% of what I do. But yeah, I remember all of the people from that Resident Evil booth were like coming over. They're like, "You're like, like, who are you?" It's like, it was really cool. And some of the cosplayers were crazy. There was like the best Barry Burton I've ever seen.
Ooh, love Barry.
Like there was just such a great. There was like a cosplayer. So there was somebody cosplaying like every single Resident Evil character at that con. It was so cool. There was Weskers, there was Barrys, there was a Pierce, there was literally everyone. Very, very cool. Loved it.
Aww.
Yeah. So that was fun. I love Germans too. It's like they do this thing because everyone speaks really good English in Germany. But I don't like to be a dick. I always like to, like, I know enough German to basically ask people, like, can I use English?
Yeah.
But like at the con too, like the people working there, they would come up and be like, English, Deutsch, like English, like yes, okay, great, and then they just start talking to me in English. And it's also a very international con. Like there's people from all over Europe. There's people from America, people from Canada. There's people from all over. Nice. Very international con. Yeah, people came up to me and were speaking Russian. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, I've never had this experience at a con before. This is so cool.
Aww.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh hell yeah! I'm really glad that like you got to like experience all that stuff.
Love Germans. Germans are like some of the nicest people.
I gotta visit. Like I'm like a quarter German. One day I will go to Germany. My last name is super German, so.
Oh yeah. It's I have a great time every time I go to Germany. Everyone's super nice, like really, really, really friendly, which is interesting because Germans don't really have that reputation, which is interesting to me.
Right. Yeah.
Every time I go to Germany, they're really friendly. So I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, so that was when I met Benson. And yeah.
Do you want to also, while we're on the subject of meeting cool people, talk about your helicopter ride with Evan?
Oh, sure. And that was interesting too, because I was basically voluntold to do that. I mean, I'm glad it happened because it was fun.
Yeah.
Because I guess originally it was supposed to be wasn't it fucking Carlos's VA?
Yeah, Vince, right?
Vince, yes. Yeah. Vince Carrazza or whatever. Yeah, he was originally supposed to go with Evan. But I guess, I don't know what happened.
I think they had their days messed up or something like that.
Yeah, so, but then it's like it turned out I was going to Toronto for Fan Expo. Mm-hmm. And Evan, I was like, I also invited Evan to be at my table, right? So it's like, well, I have this thing and I need to go with somebody. And I think it was Rexy. It was like,
I think Prince it was Rexy,
needs to do it. Prince is going to do it. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I was like, all right. It was super fun.
Aww.
It was really, really fun. I remember like Evan was like, he's like, I'm going to shit my pants. I was like, you're going to be fine. He's like, I haven't flown at all, like even in an airplane for like 10 years.
Oh my God.
And he's like, never mind like a tiny, he's like, I've never been in a helicopter or anything like that. See, the closest I'd been to it in a helicopter would be I've flown in an ultralight plane, so like a 2-seater, you know.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I've flown in one of those. It's really similar. The difference with a helicopter is like you kind of like hover around. Like helicopters are a bit different, but yeah. So anyway, and then Evan. Oh yeah, it was really funny. Evan, like he's like, okay. He got changed into his Brad Vickers costume because he was basically bullied into doing that. And the people working there were like, there was one kid who was like, "Oh, you're Brad Vickers, right?" And I was like, "Bitch, how the fuck did you know that?" And he was like,
"That's so awesome."
He's like, "I have to admit, I Googled it." He's like, somebody said that you were an actor. So then he Googled it.
That's adorable, though.
I know it was. And then
Aw.
and the helicopter ride, it was so funny. It was like, it was really short. It was only like, I feel like it was maybe 10 minutes. You kind of just go up and like into the bay and like around like the CN Tower and stuff like that. It was cool. It was really fun. And then yeah, it was done. And yeah, so it was a great experience. I'm glad that I got to do that. It's fun.
I loved yours and like Evan's videos of like your experience. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Aw.
And then when he was at my table too, it was his first convention experience, which
And you drew
really
drew a
cool.
picture of him, right? So
I
he
did,
could like
yeah, and
sign
then
it. Yeah.
I gave him the extra copies so that he can just do whatever he wants with them.
Prince, I never got anything from Evan. I never got anything signed from him. I bully him every single day, and he won't, like, I keep trying to get him to like make me things too, and he keeps being like no, and I'm upset about
Oh, okay.
it.
Well, when I'm gonna meet up with him again this August when I go back to Toronto, so I will
Good.
bully him in person.
Good. Bully him for me. Bully adjacent, please.
Yes.
Like
But yeah, it was great, and the plan is, yeah, he's welcome back to my table again. This next fan expo if he wants, because like
nice.
there was people that were really excited to meet him.
Aww.
Yeah. So
That's
I think he was a bit
awesome.
overwhelmed too, because I mean, Fan Expo Canada is huge.
Yeah,
it is
I've heard.
Huge convention, and like for that to be a first time convention, it would, yeah, I can imagine it'd be like overwhelming. He's like, holy shit, there's so many fucking people here. It took him like 40 minutes to find my table.
Oh no. How many times have you been there? Was that like have you been there a bunch of times?
That's my first time doing Fan Expo Canada, but I've been to a different con in the same venue.
Okay.
In Toronto before. I think it was Toronto Comic Con or something.
Oh, okay.
But Fan Expo's way bigger. It's way bigger. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun.
Hell yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna end with just asking you, like, as an artist that's is kind of like, to me, you've made it, because like you're out there, you're selling stuff, you're going to conventions, like you can live off your artwork. Like, what is your advice for like artists starting out? Maybe like, depending, it doesn't matter which media, just like artists just starting to draw.
I guess my best piece of advice would just be like, just stick with it. Like, seriously, trust the process. Because like there was many times where I like felt like I'm not going to get anywhere, like nothing's getting any traction, especially if you're doing original stuff, like, and nobody's interested. You feel like, okay, this is not something for me. You will eventually find your thing, something that works for you. It's like, it sounds cheesy, but like you'll find your calling, for lack of a better term, right? For me, it was like, I mean, I've always loved Resident Evil. I just, started doing more Resident Evil stuff, and it's just like, I found my people. Like, I don't know, it's just like, found my community. And, the more you keep going, the more you flesh out your own unique thing, like your own style, so, like something that's, it's signature. It's like something that's unique to you and what you're known for. It will happen. It will. You just have to trust the process, and you just don't give up. That's like the best piece of advice I can give. And I know that's pretty general, but seriously, like, that is, because a lot of people quit.
I love it.
Because
I fucking love it.
Yeah, a lot of people quit because they're just not seeing, what they want right away. It does take time. Like, it's taken me like a decade to get where I am. Like, and I've been tabling for years, like several years. And it wasn't until like the past couple years, like, maybe just post-COVID, where I actually started seeing a profit, or actually, being successful with, my shop, or like at conventions and whatever. And it's allowing me to actually travel farther and like go to more places, and like, so yeah, you have to trust the process.
Yeah, I feel like just writing it, it's like, okay, this thing, leads to this thing, like you being, you know, in the Germany Comic-Con, convention, and then having Benson come over. It's like, oh, people are seeing you now, and it's like, okay, and then you just keep going from there. Yeah.
It's like I talk to people like my friend Susie, like the Sphere Hunter. She's like, people know you, and I'm like, what? Like I don't understand. She's like, no, they know you, and I'm like, what? How? Like it's so weird to me because I'm like, I don't feel like. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm just like it's in my mind. I'm like I'm just a small being, right? I'm just a little guy. But you know, I've had people come up to me at cons. This is actually it happened a lot last year. It really I still don't know how to like it's weird. It's weird. It's cool, but it's also really weird. Like I don't know how to feel about it.
You're like,
I'll have people like they'll come up to me and they'll be like, I've gotten a lot of like handwritten notes, like gifts from people. Like I've been following you for so long. I'm such a huge fan, and like and there was one time. Actually, it's happened a couple times where people have given me like cards with like they've written a message in it, and I'm like I'm so glad I didn't open it and start reading it at the con because like I would have started crying because it's like the most like just like there's one I got was like you've. And it's weird because I'm like I'm just doing what I want, just doing art, and posting it, like But they're like your work has like made me or helped me through like really difficult times in my life and blah blah, blah and it's like I'm like what like I'm just like, making money posting. I don't know like, but it's stuff like that, and it's like I nothing really prepared me for that, and yeah, but it's. Again, it's like the whole like you eventually just kind of I don't know. It just these things just happen. Like it's
Embrace it. You deserve it. Your artwork is amazing. I always love looking at it.
Thank you. Yeah. So I still don't know how to. Even when people say they're a fan, I'm like, I don't know how to. Like
because it's just who you are. Like you're just drawing.
I'm just being me. Like I'm just literally. I'm just like being me. I'm just all I do is I try to be kind to everybody, like I'd just be as do good where I can, and just I do what I like, right? Like that's it. I think that maybe I don't know. I try to be just genuine with everybody.
It definitely shows. It's very easy for like me coming into like the Resident Evil community, stuff like that, and just like being like you're just a very easy person to talk to. So it's just very and then it was like really nice when like you were coming to New York and it was like, oh, we should say hi and meet up. Like that was very exciting.
Hell yeah.
So fuck yeah. If you
that was
you
really
come to
fun.
New York again, definitely.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
We'll do more stuff. This time I won't eat food that makes like my tongue burn and almost die because it was so spicy for me.
It was pretty spicy, yeah.
Yeah, I almost died.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I was like, I got this. I'm gonna be so cool, and I'm gonna look cool.
I'm gonna be brave. Yeah.
Nope.
And then meanwhile, you're fighting for your life on the toilet.
I was.
The next day.
That was bad.
Oh my god. All right. Well, this was
Prince,
cool.
thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Fuck yeah. All right. So, I am going to. We'll say our goodbyes, and then we'll end and we'll chill for a little bit as the video uploads and everything like that.
Hell yeah. Sounds great.
All right, thank you so much for being here, friends.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.